I need to be watched. We're ready? I've been on a conference call all morning. We're live? All right, good morning, everyone. It is the first Personnel Committee meeting of the year. Welcome. It is 9 a.m. on Tuesday, January 11th, and we are meeting in council chambers at City Hall. I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order and acknowledge that the press and the public have been duly notified of the meeting in accordance with FOIA. The first order of business will be the election of a chair and vice chair. And I will go ahead and accept any nominations for the office of chair. Are there any nominations?
I'll nominate Mr. Bogosian.
Is there a second? Perfect. Any other nominations or any discussion? No. All those in favor of Councilmember Bogosian as chair, please vote by signify by saying aye, right?
Aye.
Aye.
Nobody opposed. And Chair Bogosian, I think it's your turn to then accept any nominations for vice chair.
Okay, well, thank you. Are there any nominations for vice chair?
I'll nominate Jane Anderson.
I second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Passes. All right. Well, thank you very much. And congratulations, Vice Chair. So it looks like we have approval of the previous minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from the meeting on November 10th, 2021?
Got motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Are there any citizens' comments?
We didn't receive any in writing, so.
Okay. Great. Then I guess we move on to old business. First item on the agenda is the hiring of the fire chief. So I guess Desiree, that's you, right?
Well, we'll let our HR manager give you all an
Okay.
update on this process. We've been working on it very closely. She
All
will. Thank you, Desiree.
So yes, we started the process back in November with the application process. It ran through December. Based on the results of that, we had a meeting on the 5th and had to make some selections. So we had 53 applicants. Out of the 53, 24 qualified. And it was based on the criteria, the job description, and what we asked for in our previous meetings with development associates. From that 24, we then had to pick 15 to move forward in the process. So part of the 24 processing qualification had two levels. One was a mechanical level where it just kind of said these qualify based on also the survey questions at the end of the application, made another qualification for them to move forward. And then they also did a manual check because some people didn't really answer the questions appropriately. They might have given a range of when they've been in the fire service and didn't pinhole down to, I was a battalion chief from X time to X time, and I've been a fire chief from X time to X time. So they manually moved a few of those people just because the mechanical piece couldn't pull that information out from the resume. They presented us with a spreadsheet with all the qualification applicants. Like I said, Desiree and I and the team at Development Associates went through the list and made our choice for 15 candidates across the board. And there was a range of scoring. So based on the survey, they could score anything less than 90, put them in a green category, anything in the 80 range was a blue, anything in the yellow range was a 70, and then there was some pink ones. And then there was some that they did some Google searches on as well, just because there's may have been some hits on some bad media stuff that might have been out there. And so they alerted us on those. So we picked 15 candidates. We picked 2 alternates, waitlisted, because accustomed to the process, you can have a few people that will say, I'm not interested any longer. They may have gotten another job in the interim from our process time. I've not heard that that's happened because we've not gotten back to those, pick those other 2 candidates off from our list. So right now, what they're doing is they are interviewing them personally. And then they're also giving another survey question. And what this interview process is going to do for us is they're going to pin down the facts that are on their resume, dive down deeper, what type of experience they have. We just took what they put on their resume for granted to begin with. And now the process is to kind of unearth all of that information and validate their experience. And then next week, the 14th, we'll receive the data from that. And then we have another meeting on the 18th that will review all of that data with, again, development associates and their team, and evaluate all the information and pick 5 from there. In the next step of 5 will be a written, a coaching exercise, a material, or a meeting exercise, and a presentation. So they'll give even deeper on their experience, their leadership, so that we can evaluate those in that 5 category.
And who will be part of that?
So development associates will take care of that for us.
The interviewing process?
Yes. Yep.
So yeah, after the 5 are selected based on the phone interview and the survey, they will go through a skill evaluation, and that's going to be conducted by a team of former fire chiefs that are going to be conducting those skill evaluations. So they're doing an exercise on role play, another one on leadership, a written exercise, a budgeting exercise, just to confirm, we're not only taking what they're saying on their resume that they know, we want to prove that. So their team and developmental associates of former fire chiefs will participate on that. At the next step will be to narrow that list of 5, which I will meet personally, and I will. My plan is to bring forward to City Council and to the rest of the staff, so that I can be provided with some feedback from people who are going to be working with him, from you all, before I make a recommendation to City Council. Janice will be meeting with all the officers in the fire department soon, just to keep them updated on this step of the process, so that they can go ahead and also let their folks know. But yeah, the next step, the next milestone that we have is on the 18th, which will receive the feedback on the phone interviews on the 15th that we've selected. And then the next step will be going through the skill evaluation process.
What's the estimated time to get it to the 2?
To get it to the 2?
Down to 2, right?
End of February.
Just to confirm, the consultant that we're using does a background check to make sure the information on resumes is accurate.
Correct. Well, yes, that's correct. And they've also done some media, like Janice mentioned, some media checks on, their social media accounts and anything that would pop up. Yeah, I will say I'm very impressed with how thorough this group is. We looked at several contractors, basically some consultants that did this work, and they by far exceeded in terms of the number of fire chiefs and police chiefs that they have found for other municipalities and airports and universities. So they're really focused, and their experience is very much in the public safety world, which certainly helps in them knowing the pool of people where to bring on. I did ask them because when we went through this first, we received about 70 applications, and this was right before COVID. During COVID. And of those 70, a lot didn't even meet the minimum qualifications. So it's pretty much in line with what we saw back when we did it. And I asked the development associate team, how they've seen the impact of COVID in applications in the job market. And she said that before COVID, they had seen, usually for this type of work, they would see applications ranging from 50 to 100 applications. And then after COVID is way less than 50. So we got 53. So we're right in the middle. But they feel very comfortable with the quality that we've received in the applicants. That's all we have.
Other discussion? All right, then we'll move on to the next item of old business, which is a discussion and consideration of establishing the Spirit of the Island Award. This is to recognize a remarkable single achievement or action by a citizen of the island. Do you have an update on?
So we don't have anything in writing yet to propose. We're still working through that, but this was something that was suggested that the Personnel Committee look at this year. Councilmember Ward brought it up during council meeting, and the last personnel group, all of those members are no longer on council. And so I think that they wanted to, bring this up to the new committee, and certainly they supported it at the time, and wanted the staff and this new council to evaluate, what that would look like. So certainly that's something that it would be new to us. We would have to come up with some criteria and a purpose, right, of why to establish a signal and a companion to the Signal 30 award. And I think that the desire was to have something that would be more easily obtained, I guess, or a lower set of criteria than the Signal 30, so that the Signal 30 would be used to recognize truly exceptional work, and something that would accompany it maybe at a different level that could be used by the community and city council to recognize members of the community.
So is there an action that needs to be taken?
There's no action to be taken now. If this is something that this committee wants to continue to pursue, we can go back and work at the staff level on what that could look like and bring it to you all next month for some further discussion and some reaction from you all.
John, just real quick, and part of the difference too, Desiree, I think Signal 30 could be somebody off island, but this particular piece was for a resident of the island. Do I remember that right or not? I mean, that's how it's worded, or just a citizen of the island.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe that was the original intent when it was brought up.
And so, I mean, I would definitely be in favor of us pushing this forward personally, but
Okay.
some more detail around it.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
So that action would keep it on the agenda, and you would do some work on it between now and the next meeting.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Moving on to new business. I may have an old discussion of the establishing a code of conduct for city council is the first item of new business. And I know, Desiree, you had sent around some examples of some I think of Mount Pleasant's code of conduct, or the City of Charleston's code of conduct, and as well as an example from some I think municipal organization.
Mm-hmm.
So is there discussion on setting this up?
I can't find my samples that you must have sent out. So
They were separate email that just came yesterday. Or...
no.
Yeah, John, I'll just real quick. We had had conversation about this last year, and you may remember the city of Charleston went through some issues last year and didn't have anything, and came up with this example that Desiree sent around for us. When I looked at the city of Charleston, I thought it was kind of weak, to tell you the truth. But when I read through it and kind of thought through the whole process again, and you think about applying it to a real life situation. You know, I don't think we want to go down the list where the industry trade group is, you know, a laundry list of yes, no, but, you know, so I kind of got more comfortable with the city of Charleston version. And I guess I should back up to say I would fully support us doing something like this just to have it in place. But you know, the city of Charleston one just replicates the pledge that we all took. But then the meat to it is behind, you know, the voting and censuring and kind of what happens after that. So that felt better to me, you know, from a document standpoint, as opposed to a laundry list of items that might cause an issue. You know, the only thing to me that seems to be missing is some, and again, maybe you just stay away from all the laundry list, but there's no social media talk in here at all. So I don't know, I guess we could ask our city attorney or just further conversations with this committee to see what we might want to do, but I would fully support getting something in place personally.
So is there anything in our current ordinance around this?
About a code of conduct for
Yeah.
council? No, not really, not codified.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Because I do agree with, when I read the city of Charleston, basically says that you live up to the oath of office that you pledge to. And then it goes on to say, if you don't, what happens? Council can take action to censor you, or I think remove you from committees, et cetera, are the two action items that it had. So it's really just really putting a council member back to the pledge that they took, as opposed to any other kind of code of conduct, Phil, like you mentioned, like social media behavior, et cetera.
John, your mic on?
I think so.
Yeah. I think it needs to
Yeah.
get closer. Yeah, I would agree.
So my understanding is then that this is just what the procedure would be if you do not stand up to the code of conduct. Is that what this is basically about? It doesn't, it's using what our oath of office is to,
Yeah, I'm looking at Desiree.
Yeah, I think it would create a process by which council would have available to them a structured process on how to, I guess, bring somebody to account if they're not behaving, I guess, in the way that the oath establishes council members should behave.
okay.
It is not it's unusual. When I was asked to add this item on the agenda for discussion, I was trying to find examples and couldn't really find a whole lot other than the city of Charleston's. So I don't know why is that, but you know, there's not a lot of guidance, I guess, for us to use to bring to you all as examples. So, you know, it could be something that this group can develop on their own, like, you know, maybe using the city of Charleston's and adding to it. I know that Mayor Pounds mentioned the social media component, what that would look like. That it really should be a council-driven discussion, because it's council who holds each other, you all hold each other accountable. There is a process right now in place through the State Ethics Commission, but that's very much specific to, you know, conflict of interest and that kind of behavior, not necessarily, you know, what the code of conduct you all expect of your fellow
We're not
council members.
clarifying that with this.
I'm sorry?
We're not going to clarify what it is that's proper behavior with this. We're just saying this is the procedure to follow if someone violates whatever the code of conduct is.
You could certainly expand on the code of conduct of what that conduct is. I think that the city of Charleston is very, you know, very basic, just referring back to the oath. If you all want to be more specific of what kind of conduct you expect of your fellow council members, you can certainly do so. It's really up to what you all want to see in a code of conduct, and then the process by which you hold each other accountable. Because sometimes it's asked, well, what can we do, we being you all, if, you know, there's somebody, you know, who acted inappropriately, whatever that means. There's really nothing in place. So if you all want to have that something in place, then this would be the avenue to do it.
Well, I think I would rather see this procedure for how to enforce a code of conduct before we start defining it more. We could spend forever trying to decide what's in and out on that. So this looks fine to me the way it is.
And Jan, I think you've gotten to the heart of the difference of what you could do here. A laundry list of things that would be out of bounds, so to speak, and then a path, or you take the city of Charleston as an example. I mean, I think that's the difference of what we're talking about doing is creating a laundry list gets a little dicey to me personally, but as long as there's a procedure to, you know, it's a 2/3 vote in this current example. And I mean, I think it's a good guide to start with for sure.
Yeah,
but,
I'd start there. Okay, so.
So
Mr.
what
Chair,
do you all
we
need
do
us
next?
to do?
I think draft a code similar to the city of Charleston's for us to review.
And propose to council, for council?
I think we'd probably bring it back to the next, this next meeting, next month, and let us review it. And then we'll take action at the next meeting.
Okay,
So what you're looking, it's more geared towards the process by which you hold each other accountable, not necessarily what the appropriate conduct of a council member
Right.
should be.
And
Okay.
and I think at this point, you should include the oath because it does cover, you know, a wide spectrum of behaviors in there. So I think that's a good place to start, and the behavior, and then the consequences are how you, council would take action and hold each other accountable on that.
Okay.
All right. The next item of new business is to discuss the selection process for the IOP Water and Sewer Commission vacancy.
okay.
So I don't know, what is the process today? First of all, what's written?
So when a vacancy occurs for the Water and Sewer Commission, it does not trigger, like it does for City Council, a special election. State law dictates that it is up to City Council to appoint somebody to fill that unexpired seat. With the election of Councilmember Anderson, there's now a new vacancy in the Water and Sewer Commission Board. So the process that we followed last time when 2 appointments were made by City Council was a very similar to the boards and commissions process, where there's an application out on the website, we advertise it through the local newspaper, solicit applications from people who may be interested. We review that and bring them before the Personnel Committee. The Personnel Committee discusses it, narrows it down to 2 or 3. Interviews can be conducted, and then a decision is made as a recommendation to City Council for appointment. We typically consult with members of the existing Water and Sewer Commission because they know of people who may be interested already, folks that are already attending meetings, that are plugged into the happenings of the Water and Sewer Commission. And certainly would, I think that the Personnel Committee would give value to feedback or recommendation from them. It's not necessary, but I think it helps if they have somebody in mind that they know has a certain degree of experience that would be helpful for their group. I've already had a conversation with their general manager and the chair of the Water and Sewer Commission, and they mentioned that they have a few people in mind that they were going to talk to. So once the application is out, which is already out on the website, they'll have to go through, fill it in, and it would be presented to you all. The plan would be to have a list of applications for you all to consider at your next meeting, with the goal of you all making a recommendation. If you want to have interviews, you can have the interviews done between your next meeting and the council meeting, so that a recommendation could be presented in February to City Council.
I know Councilwoman Anderson had some comments on this as well and wanted to bring it to the agenda. So do you have any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I'm the one that put it on the agenda because I went through that process to get on the commission. The commission is an independent authority, but the City Council has the authority to appoint members. What I'd like to do is, my experience was that I don't think I met anybody on the commission before I was appointed. And I think that I would like to see something similar to what you have done with your other senior positions with the city, is that the commission do the interview process and bring a candidate or two candidates forward for council to appoint. So council would maintain the appointment responsibility as required by law, but the whole interview process would shift to the Water and Sewer Commission. And that's what I'm proposing.
Yeah, we can certainly, if that's what you all, we can certainly do that. Still go through the applications and give the applications to them and for them to narrow it down, interview people, and then come before this committee with 2 recommendations. And you can,
That would be good. And then we pick one to forward.
Mhm.
Okay.
yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a procedural thing. I don't think that's, do we need to do a vote on that?
No.
Council?
No, I think that you can report on this. The chair can report to city council at the end of this month that's the process that
Okay.
you want to follow. And unless there are any major issues, which I don't anticipate, really, they are going to be working with that group. So
Yes.
it makes sense
Yeah.
to have, give
Yeah.
them some say in it. And I think that they would appreciate that for sure.
I think it's a good change.
Yeah, and I think it's one less thing that we really need to spend time on. We need the final authority, but that's it.
All right. Miscellaneous business, it looks like next meeting will be Tuesday, February 8th at 9 a.m.
This
Is that-
date and time
is
still work
good?
for everyone? Okay,
I think that it concludes the agenda.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.